Okay, forms of energy. Forms of energy come in two different types. We have potential energy and we have kinetic energy. When we talk about potential energy is anything stored. So energy that has the ability to move a object. This is energy of position. So you are positionally ready to have some sort of energy. You sitting at the TV or looking at the computer is potential energy. Chemical energy is stored in the bonds of atoms of molecules. So something in like wood, where you're going to get ready to burn it, or in food, that is potential energy. It is not used until it has not become kinetic energy until you use that energy either to burn that wood or eat those calories in order to be able to go on. Potential mechanical energy is anything stored in the tension of an object. For instance, a rubber band stretched is potential energy. Pulled bow and arrow is potential energy. Any kind of spring is a potential energy. Potential nuclear energy is stored in the nucleus of an atom. So this is the energy that holds the nucleus together, and then it can turn into something like an atomic bomb or fission, to where you split this atom and energy bursts forth. Potential gravitational energy. This is the one we'll talk most about when we talk about calculating it, the potential energy of something. You're taking mass of an object, the gravitational pull of that object, and the height at which it can drop. So for instance, we're talking about hydropower. That's why we create dams. Hydroelectric dams will produce energy by being at the top of a hill and allowing that water to go through those turbines and fall using gravity, creating kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is energy of motion. So anything that is moving is kinetic energy. This is electrons, atoms, molecules, substances, objects, people, anything. So radiant kinetic energy is the electromagnetic energy that travels in transverse waves. So this is any visible light, X-rays, gamma rays, sunshine, radio waves, all the waves that we'll talk about when we get into waves with the next unit. Kinetic thermal energy is heat. Thermal is heat. So this is energy that comes from the movement of atoms and molecules in a substance. So friction or geothermal energy, anything that is caused from heat, that is thermal kinetic energy. And then motion, the one we think of the most, is things like the wind, a car crash, car comes to a stop, releases all that motion of energy. And then anything that is moving. So you running from place to place. Sound is the movement of energy through substances. Sound is produced when a force causes an object or a substance to vibrate. So vibration, sound vibration is a kinetic energy. So you hearing my voice right now is actually kinetic energy. Electricity, so nature is, in nature we see that with lightning, the thing powering your computer right now, the lights in your room, the ability to have your phone charged, that is all kinetic energy. It is flowing through wires, these electrons are, towards the positively charged things that are charging, or batteries, or lights being turned on, everything along that. So energy can change form, but the total of energy is conserved. So this comes from the law of conservation of energy and mass. So matter can be neither created nor destroyed. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So energy will continue to be. So anything that it can go from, so for instance, we can have chemical energy is converted into thermal energy, and then it will go back into the cycle. So we talked about cycles in the carbon cycle, and gradually we'll go through that cycle again to gain energy again in the form of a tree that is taking in that carbon dioxide. When a person rides a bicycle down a steep hill, it'll pick up. The gravitational energy is converted into motion energy, and gradually, due to Newton's laws, as it goes on, friction will take hold of that bike and it will eventually stop and turn into potential energy again. So for instance, we take water falling from the top of a dam converts into potential energy. So from potential energy into kinetic energy, and then back into potential energy as it gets to the bottom, just like we saw with the bike here. Think of bike on a hill as the same as waterfalls. And digestion takes chemical energy, so it takes this chemical energy that you have in food, turns it into mechanical energy for playing sports, or electrical energy for stimulating the brain, because the brain signals actually move like electricity. And that's really all I want to talk about. We've already talked about energy transfer with conduction, radiation, and convection. We talked about the Earth's convection currents. The biggest thing I want you to come from is the objects that are going to be moving. So we'll forget about this. So objects always have potential energy if they're not moving, have kinetic energy if they are moving. And we talked about the different types of each. Go ahead and go into your guided practice. As soon as you're done with that, go ahead and take your test for this section.